Hello and welcome to Housing for New Hope's 2021 virtual annual breakfast. While I wish we were gathering in person this year, I do believe that there's a future very soon in which we'll be able to do so safely. I'd like to thank this event's sponsors that include St. Stephen's Episcopal Church, PNC Bank, Inhabit Realty, Westminster Presbyterian Church, Center Studio Architecture, and Lenovo. Thank you to these companies and congregations for your commitment to affordable housing in Durham. 1 year ago, just about, I was sitting in my house doing a Zoom recording to bring you our very quickly pivoted coffee and conversations. It was our way of figuring out how to still give the information to you all about the important work that we are doing as part of the affordable housing and homelessness prevention in Durham. Here we are, 1 year out, still in my house, but still ever more grateful and even more inspired than I was a year ago that we will be able to do the important work here in Durham to ensure that everybody has a safe place to live. We couldn't do it without our incredible staff. I'm just in awe of how they've done everything they have this year, despite the difficult circumstances. Our street outreach team never lost a beat. They found ways to safely meet the clients on the streets to ensure that they were taking into account all of the clients' needs who were unsheltered. Our rapid rehousing team continued the momentum to ensure that families and individuals had a safe place to live in short notice. And our properties and facilities team maintained safe, sanitized, and secure places for our tenants in a very uncertain time. Thank you endlessly to our staff. Take a breath, because we have so much work to do again in the years ahead. Thank you to our board of directors who has stepped up in numbers of ways this year, all by Zoom. I appreciate the new board members who have onboarded in a pandemic, who have grown to be such ambassadors of the organization in ways that I didn't know were even possible to do just from home. We as a board took our strategic plan off the shelf, it didn't sit there for long, and worked alongside staff to ensure that our goals were adaptable and relevant, to ensure that we're still meeting those goals that we've set for ourselves. They're ambitious, but I have no doubt we'll be able to do that. And thank you to our supporters and volunteers. We really wouldn't be able to do this without you. We're all walking ambassadors of affordable housing, the need for it, and the love for our community. Thank you to those who continue to share things about Housing for New Hope on your social media, who wanted to find ways in which to volunteer, even from home. Churches who showed up and made homelessness kits for our street outreach team to use during their work. We see you, we thank you, and we look forward to seeing you in person again soon. Today, you will hear from several members of our staff, clients, and council member, Pierce Freelon, about the important need for housing in Durham. Housing in Durham looks a lot different every day, and the need for true affordable housing for our clients, for our community, is ever more present. I'm excited, invigorated, and really inspired for these updates. This is a day of joy and graciousness, so thank you for spending this time with us this morning. I am now going to turn it over to our Executive Director, Russell Pierce.
Thanks, Sarah, and good morning. It's a delight to welcome you to Housing for New Hope's 2021 annual breakfast. We're delighted that you've made the effort to join us virtually. We know that that is just not quite the same as when we're able to gather in a beautiful space and have a breakfast celebration, but we trust that you'll be able to join us again next year when we're back in that kind of a venue. You know, more than 2 years ago when I came to Housing for New Hope, there were so many pieces that drew me to the work, drew me to Durham for this particular time and effort. And you know, it's interesting because we have done such extraordinary work for so many years, and I kept hearing from the board and others who were part of my discernment process of how well regarded this agency was. And it proved out very fast when I met people. But of course, when you come into a new job or into my role in a new agency, you also discover things you weren't expecting or that surprise you. And I'll be honest, one of the things that surprised me was that we had never written down our core values. And part of the surprise was to do such extraordinary work for so many years and not have those guiding pillars written down was just a little bit unusual. Before I came, the board had already been working on a new strategic plan and had discerned that one of the things we needed to do was get those values written down. So over about 18 months, meeting with staff, meeting with stakeholders, we even met with Terry Alabaugh, our founder and longtime executive director, to discern what are the main pieces that drive our work. And so I want to share those with you today, even as we talk about the work that we've done over this, as we say, we're probably tired of hearing it, an unprecedented year. So we have 4 core values that we often also call our pillars. The first is that we believe every person is valuable. Now, we may not realize always what a radical statement that is, but in the work that we do, it is deeply radical for us to say that every single person has value. And one of the ways that we see this worked out most in our efforts and in our programs is through our street outreach program. We relaunched it in 2020 in a deep new partnership with the City of Durham and Durham County, where they designated us as the Unsheltered Coordinating Agency. And during this pandemic, when the emergency shelters had to restrict the number of folks who could sleep there and be there day in and day out, our efforts on the street to reach folks who weren't able to access the shelter or get directly into housing made a tremendous difference. In the last 7-8 months, we have worked with more than 200 individuals on the streets of Durham. And you're helping make that possible because oftentimes, because of your deep care for those who you see in our community on the streets and in the corners and in tents, you're letting us know and we're able to follow up, and we appreciate that. We also believe that everyone has a right to housing. And again, that sounds like a simple thing, but right now it's a really challenging thing. You may not know this, but between 2019 and 2020, rental rates, I think the technical term would be skyrocketed, but I might need to check that. 1-bedroom units increased in cost by 34%, and 2-bedroom units went up by 26%, all in just 1 year. The costs are well ahead of the fair market rental rates that are established by HUD, which guides a lot of our work. And so we're having to double down in our efforts to build relationships with partner landlords across our community to identify safe, affordable units for our clients. And last year we took it a step further. We partnered with the North Carolina Coalition on Homelessness and 8 agencies here in our community with special funds to break down barriers in the hardest time in the midst of the COVID pandemic last summer. And 8 agencies came together and in just about 100 days housed 49 households, over 100 people. When you look at the statistics and the graph from the City of Durham about performance last year, you see a spike in the middle of the summer. And it's because of that effort and our working together in those kinds of extraordinary ways. We believe in the power of community. And we know, especially from working with our most vulnerable neighbors who are moving from the streets or from tents or from other out-of-door places, oftentimes the key for their success is surrounding them with a community of support. So our supportive housing programs, Williams Square, Andover Apartments, and Streets to Home, provide not just rental support and connections to housing, but an array of supportive services, and indeed a constellation of them because we're working with many, many partners to help folks be successful. And in this last year, because of the COVID pandemic and challenges with people being able to move on to other housing once they're ready to graduate from those efforts, we have actually been supporting 40% more people that we had actually contracted with HUD to support. And we've picked up that and carried those folks through this difficult time, again with your support. We also believe that affordable housing contributes to a just society. We, of course, 2 years ago opened up the now award-winning Holloway Place, and it's an extraordinary co-housing facility for women, a transformation of our old Dove House. And we're really proud of this. And I loved one day, one of our foundation partners met with us, and she walked around the house and she said, you know what's incredible? She said, this is affordable housing that doesn't look affordable. And we think those kinds of efforts, not just affordable housing that's functional, but affordable housing that is also beautiful, says something important to people as we build a more just society and support people in taking those next steps in their lives and towards their goals. It's been, again, an unprecedented and extraordinary year. And without your support and participation, we could have never accomplished it. And I don't say that just to say it. We have seen extraordinary participation by so many partners in this community as we sought to make a difference in the midst of this pandemic. And it's helping us to build for the future. In a few minutes, you'll learn that we're getting ready to build again. But you'll also hear over the coming months of new partnerships in supportive housing, new efforts to expand our street outreach efforts, and a new initiative building on the extraordinary work from last summer. Remember when I said we got 49 households into housing in just about 100 days? Well, the North Carolina Coalition to End Homelessness came back to us asking if we would take on a nearly $250,000 effort to do the same again, but with even bigger results. This next year is going to be an extraordinary one for us. Yes, parts of it will still seem unprecedented. Yes, we'll still be working through the COVID pandemic in many ways. But together, as a community, we're going to continue to make an amazing difference for our most vulnerable neighbors right here in Durham. I'm grateful for you, grateful that you're with us this morning, and look forward to seeing you in person sometime in this next year, and at the absolute latest, next year at our breakfast. Thank you.
At Housing for New Hope, we believe in the power of community. As Russ mentioned, the work that we do here is only possible through collaboration and partnership. In order to make this work possible, we need your support. To make a gift, you can visit housingfornewhope.org/donate. Thank you so much for considering supporting our work and getting our neighbors into housing. Now you'll hear from Durham City Council member and community advocate Pierce Freelon to give an update on our affordable housing bond and share how together we're getting our neighbors into housing.
Good morning. In November of 2019, the city of Durham overwhelmingly decided to support the affordable housing bond. $95 million were supported by 75% of the Durham population to support this very important initiative, which is a reflection of our values. We want to make sure everyone in Durham has a warm place to put their heads down at night. And I want to talk a little bit about the goals of that affordable housing bond. We are talking about 1,800 new affordable housing units for the residents of Durham, preserving 800 rental units for Durham residents, supporting moving 1,700 homeless folks into permanent housing, stabilizing low-income renters, about 2,500 low-income renters in Durham. So this is a really important, really unprecedented in North Carolina history effort to have a bond of this size at the municipal level, and we are proud as Durhamites to be leaders here. We are going to continue supporting our eviction diversion efforts. And guess what? We have the Biden administration coming in right on time with $12 million to help support and undergird these local efforts here at the city level. $12 million from the federal government is particularly important at this time because of COVID-19. Who among us hasn't experienced a radical transformation in our lives due to the pandemic? And folks are experiencing rent shortfalls. There are some estimates that say as many as $6 million per month in rental shortfalls exist for hundreds of people right here in Durham. So we'll be investing millions in rapid rehousing resources, emergency shelter, our White Flag Nights program, and many other ambitious and innovative housing initiatives. If you didn't get the memo, Durham is growing, and we're growing really, really fast. There are dozens of people moving to this area every single day. And with the announcement of new companies like Google and Apple setting up shop right here in the Triangle, there will be an ever-increasing need for public-private partnerships to help provide affordable housing for the folks who need it. And I'm not just talking about the people, at area median income. We definitely want to focus on folks at 50%, at 30%, at 20% who are being squeezed the hardest by the incoming interest and development of people who want to come to Durham and experience the wonderful culture that we have here. One of the things we're talking about at City Council is partnering with Durham Tech to make sure that people are prepared to get access to some of these jobs that can bring in a living wage, which can help them stay in their homes. buy a home and afford the rents, as we know it will inevitably rise. Gentrification is real, growth is real, it's coming, it's here, it's now. So we need to act quickly, and we need to make friends and build partnerships with developers, with companies, and with our public institutions. So written into the very DNA of our affordable housing bond is an intentional focus on what in biblical terms you would call like the least of these. I don't know about y'all. I grew up in Durham, went to church at St. Titus. They said the least of these, but really we're talking about folks experiencing poverty, folks experiencing homelessness, 30% AMI and below. Our RFPs, our most recent RFPs for projects included an intentional focus on this population and a call to partner with homeless services and to partner with our homeless brothers and sisters and community members to make sure that they're cared for. So that's in there. It's a part of our of how we're rolling out the affordable housing bond. A couple projects to give you a quick example: Willard Street Apartments, which just opened up and is now housing folks. I went down there a couple weeks ago. It is indistinguishable from the market rate apartments across the street. It is serving people below 50, below 30% AMI, and it's really important, and more importantly, really beautiful and aesthetically gorgeous site that really speaks to the dignity of affordable housing and the importance of having dignity with affordable housing. Another project that I want to highlight is Holloway Place, which was a co-housing, one of the first in the region, a co-housing project where we are bringing people together of mixed income, of mixed background, of mixed socioeconomic realities, and bringing them together in a co-housing scenario. So those are the types of innovative solutions that make me really proud to be from Durham, and around creative policymakers and administrators and nonprofit partners that think outside of the box when it comes to addressing affordable housing. It is so vitally important that the City of Durham partner with institutions like Housing for New Hope. I want to talk about two programs and collaborations here. One is our Street Outreach Program. This is actually a city-county collaboration with Housing for New Hope, where over a period of 9 months, we've connected over 120 households. Now, I'm talking about people living in tents, people living under bridges. We've supported these folks to find housing or shelter during COVID, which is incredible, incredible work. About 68 of that 120 have been connected to shelter or housing. And I just want to talk about that number. 68 of 120 is a rate over 50%. And normally with these initiatives, you see a conversion rate closer to 30%. So we really want to highlight and celebrate the efficacy of this particular street outreach program. Another one I want to talk about is White Flag. The White Flag program is designed for the chilly days. Between December and March of this year, we had 66 nights that were below freezing. The homeless population, folks experiencing poverty, folks experiencing homelessness, are particularly vulnerable during these chilly evenings. And we've connected over 170 folks to households during these White Flag nights. So that's another collaboration between the city, Housing for New Hope, Open Table, and others. So we want to continue to champion these types of collaborations and express deep gratitude as a public official, as a Durham native, to Housing for New Hope and other partners that have made this great work possible.
Thanks, Pierce. We're incredibly grateful that you were able to join us today and appreciate all of your work in the space of affordable housing. Friends, now we're going to hear from Housing for New Hope Program Manager Kristen Rogers and participant Darren to share his journey into housing.
Hi, I'm Kristen Rogers with Housing for New Hope Streets to Home program. We are here at one of our clients' homes, Darren Taylor, who was referred to Streets to Home by our street outreach team.
My name is Darren Taylor, and Housing for New Hope helped me get off the streets. Without Housing for New Hope, I really think none of my sobriety would have been possible. Well, before Housing for New Hope, I had problems with alcohol. I was, depressed. And when I got with these Housing for New Hope, I just don't have the desire no more. And, you know, I've just seen a lot of people with alcohol, you know, go down. But mine comes from like my family. So it's like hereditary, so to speak. And people don't know that has a lot to do with it. You know, because I was brought up in my house, you know, my uncle and them always drunk. And that was just something that I thought that was okay. But today, I just have no desire for it. Just having a house, it just makes you want to do different. You know, and they just gave me hope, and I didn't think that I would never stop drinking. And, you know, they just, I don't know, and with God, you know, God has a big part of that too. You know, and it just helped me have hope and no more desire for that. Okay, working with Christian has helped me, you know, being able to pay my bills and, you know, stay stable, you know. She's purchased me a brand new washer and dryer, and I never had a brand new one all my life. And it's something to take care of. And it just helped me with my clothes, because before I had to have my clothes here and there washed by my parents, and she's helped me out a lot with that. Well, Housing for New Hope helped me with getting back with my dogs. I've been away from my dogs 4 years. They were with a sitter, and she brought me hope to get my dogs back. The landlord said it was okay, and that's a blessing. They were my best friends. Tango and Angel are my best friends. Brother and sister. Well, what I would say to them is try to get with social services and get with Housing for New Hope. Especially if you're homeless. But it takes time. It's not gonna be overnight. But it's a little hard, you know, when you're thinking something's gonna happen and you don't know. So you had to really kind of trust in God, you know, on stuff like that. And that's what I did. And once I found out that was helping me, I stopped. I literally stopped because it was depressing. And, you know, who wants to had to lay down on the concrete at night, you know, drunk. You know, that's real depressing. Okay, working with Housing for New Hope and Christian, she's helped me with hope, security, and clean clothes. A brand new wash and dryer. I just had to wake up in the morning and have a beer and be shaking, GG, no more. I can wake up now and eat breakfast.
Darren, we appreciate you sharing your experience. Friends, we are ending homelessness one valuable person at a time by connecting our neighbors to housing and hope. As we approach our 30th anniversary, Housing for New Hope continues to make bold moves toward emerging needs in our community. Please join us by making a gift at housingfornewhope.org/donate. Now, I want you to join us on site in East Durham for an exciting announcement from our executive director and board members.
We are standing here on the lot that Housing for New Hope is acquiring for affordable home development. With the surging demand in Durham for homes and vacant land, generally, nonprofits such as Housing for New Hope, who's in the area of affordable housing, do not have the opportunity to acquire property of this nature. So when it comes available, we had to act boldly and swiftly.
We've been developing affordable housing communities for more than a quarter of a century, and we're excited about the possibility to do it here again. To be honest, we're not sure exactly what we're going to do with this parcel. We know that the need for supportive housing is great, but we want to take the time and create the space to really engage the community to understand what is most needed at this time and in this place.
This approach is who we've always been as an agency, one who adapts to the needs of our community.
Yes, Housing for New Hope is an agency that moves swiftly and boldly when the opportunity presents itself.
And we're only able to act swiftly and boldly when we're able to do this kind of work in partnership. So we're so grateful that you've been with us today, and we're excited about what lies ahead. We hope that you'll continue to follow us on social media, that you'll continue to open up our e-newsletter when it drops into your inbox every month, that you'll check out the website for updates, and that you'll continue to follow us and engage with us, because it's only going to be possible. Whatever needs to be built on this site is only going to be possible when we do it in partnership.